Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Dear White People, Volume 2, Episode 2, Chapter 2.
I think you could just leave off the season.
I have to have the volume. I never said the season there.
Did you not? Okay. Yeah, just Volume 2, Chapter 2.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll refine it. Episode 3 will be refined. It'll be peak introduction for this season of Dear White People.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
So this, I was right, Reggie episode.
Yep.
I want points.
Yeah. Troy next, right?
I want all the fuzz points. Yeah, Troy's probably the one that's the most set up. Although Joe wouldn't be a complete random pick either.
I wouldn't be out of nowhere, no.
No, she had her moment in the club where she was singing and looked very distressed. I mean, clearly the funniest thing in this episode is the TV show they're watching, and the woman just yells out the guns a metaphor for the white penis.
And then just screams penis again.
Yeah, that was killing me. So this episode is Reggie, and he's still kind of dealing with his PTSD essentially.
Yeah.
From the incident of season 1.
Which was only 3 weeks ago.
Only 3 weeks ago, yeah. So we're really tight in time. And I think it's funny because the show, and this happened last season, it's happening against this season. We see it in this episode that multiple episodes essentially take place over the same amount of time.
Yeah. Which, while we're on it, calling out the references and bollocks again. So you know how I said the film that went heavy on it.
Time, yeah, here we go.
Wrinkle in Time was definitely not out anywhere near this last year.
Did we know last year what year it was set in? Was it always 2018?
I don't think so.
It's possible. Honestly, I can kind of forgive it. If it's going to be a thing they just keep doing, like, let's say every season is only just a few weeks apart, and they always play in this really tight space of time. I'm actually kind of, if they make it a consistent thing where they're always going to just reference new things anyway, and it's going to just kind of be like, the show kind of takes place in like a meta time warp outside of real reality, I'm okay with it, it's fine.
I think the reason I don't like it is because the show feels so real.
Yeah, that's true, it does.
So that really kind of divorces it from the moment.
That's fair. I mean, I like the Get Out reference last episode. I thought that was a fun little reference. Wrinkle in Time in this episode though, could have been any movie. Like, just pick another movie she would like.
Right, it didn't have to be, that just came out.
Yeah. But hey, I don't know.
It's not even on home release yet.
She's pirated it.
Plausible.
Anyway, we focus on Reggie. He's dealing with this thing, and basically the episode is kind of almost, and this is not a complaint, but it's basically a string of scenes where people try to ask him if he's okay. He probably thinks he's in a goddamn episode of Arrow, because everyone keeps going up to him and saying, "Hey Reggie, how are you? Are you okay?" And he gets
there's a point where he's like, he says, "I'm sick of it. I'm sick of everyone asking me if I'm okay." I just but it's just the people that care about you. It's like, yeah, but I'd be sick of it too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think anyone would be sick of it after a while. Because I think beyond just like hearing it over and over, you don't want to feel like you're someone who needs taken care of, or that you're a victim. You don't want people to pity you. It's a very common feeling to want to appear strong, even though you don't. And Reggie's a character who does bottle things up, and that's kind of the point of the episode. Is that by the end he's convinced that he has to in some way express how he's feeling about this, because he's not. He's hiding away from it all, and we see that he's having these little flashes, these little panic attacks, and he sees the security guard kind of standing in front of him, pointing a gun at him, and we see that a few times. And one of the big key things that comes up is he goes to see Troy's dad, who genuinely seems like he cares and wants to help and gives him some advice.
It's the most human he's appeared.
It is. Because he actually does care, and because Troy's leaving, and I'm sure we'll see the rest of that scene when we get Troy's episode. That's
one of the reasons I think Troy's episode might be next.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
That feels like one that we'll get the full context for.
But he goes in and he sits down next to. He doesn't sit at his desk. He comes around the desk and sits next to him, so he's on the same side. He's like, "Hey, here, this is not me as the dean. This is me talking to you." Yeah. And he tries to give him advice, and he asks before he leaves the scene, "Oh, hey, if you really cared, they'd be giving him therapy." I think he says that to the therapist as well. He says he makes that kind of point a couple of times, where he says, "No, if you really cared, you'd be dealing with him." And he's like, "Hey, appropriate action's being taken. Something is happening, but it takes time." And then,
I did like this as well. He tells him, "It's like, hey, I know you're just doing your job, asking me if I'm okay. You don't really care." And he's like, "No, my job is just to ticking a few boxes, just generate, all this boring stuff. I don't have to do this. The students aren't really my responsibility.
And it's
It's the
shown
people
even more later on when he comes back to him after he's motivated after the night out with Joe. He comes back to him and they end up having a walk outside in campus. And there's a moment where some other faculty members walk past, and he turns into faculty mode and says, "Hi, oh, I'll see you next week for that thing." And he's over, and to the point where Reggie kind of makes fun of him because his voice kind of even changes a little bit.
It was funny because we'd had the scene with Reggie and Troy doing their impressions.
Of him, yeah.
Yeah, of him, and this felt like he just did that in front of him.
Yeah, it was like he changes into this proper voice for business. Yeah, so that was a really nice touch. It really worked, and obviously them kind of bonding over dealing with his dad, and they're at the party. They're getting high and they're doing whatever else. And they're kind of like talking about, why are we not friends anymore? Why are we not hanging out? What happened to us? And he's like, well, I've got my thing, you've got your thing. What is your thing? And clearly they're both kind of lost in different ways right now. Troy, he says he feels great and he's happy that there's so many women throwing them at him for pity.
Pity pussy, as he keeps
putting it. And of course,
Troy too.
And eventually, well, it's Troy that says that, yeah.
Yeah. But he refers to it as that, before that as well. He says it in one of the narration points early on.
Did I not say it was Troy who referred to that as?
Yeah, no, Reggie refers to it as that earlier as well, though.
Sorry. Oh, right. Okay, that's what you're saying. Okay, sure.
Yeah. And then Troy joins in.
Yeah, because the girl comes up to him at the party and he's just sort of mouthing it behind him, like just do it.
Yeah.
And we get like a montage. He's like having sex with multiple partners.
I was really glad about that because I was like, this is going on a long time. This sex scene.
Yeah, but then you start to notice, wait a minute, that's a different woman. Oh, that's a different woman. Okay,
no,
right, there's a point
it wasn't
to this.
even that. The point where because I just started going, this is going on a long time, and then like 3 seconds later, it cuts and he's there yawning. I'm like, oh, okay, that's the point. He's bored of it as well.
Yeah, it's not invigorating for him. And then his roommate, possibly the whitest man alive, who keeps critiquing him on things, tries to be friendly, and he seems to have nice intentions. I mean, whatever. Although Reggie does point out that he was part of the group that were kind of protesting against him when they were protesting, and he's like, yeah, but I didn't know you then. And there's a really nice little bit of satire in there. It's like, oh yeah, you're not a human being until I actually speak to you, and now oh no, I'm not against you. There's almost a little bit in there to that. But I did laugh a little bit when he's like, have you even fed this woman? It's like, would you like a Hot Pocket? Oh, have you got this flavour? Of course I do.
Yeah. She's so into it.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. And again, that's something else that's invading his life, and it's like, oh, now he's got this roommate, and all the rest of it. But to go back to the scene with he's with Troy's father, he's with the dean. He sees the guard with some other guards over by the car, and he's ready to fly off. He's still at work, and he storms off, and Troy's dad has to step in front and says, no, don't do this.
Physically has to grab him.
Yeah. He's like, no, you have to find a way to let this out. And another part of that scene I really liked as well is when Troy tries to diminish his own feelings by saying, oh, I mean, it's not like I actually got shot. All he did was point at me, and Troy's father's like, no, don't normalize this. You had a near-death experience. Don't you dare, try and belittle yourself by saying it's not actually that bad. Don't do that. I like that scene, because again, I think that goes back to Reggie wanting to feel like he is tough, and he sees himself as being a pussy for caring as much about this, for it affecting him. He wants to try and be tough and say, oh, it's not actually that bad, I should get over this. But
I don't think it helps that everyone else is exaggerating it as well, because they keep going, oh, you got beat within an inch of your life.
Yeah, you got pistol whipped, and it's like, no, none of that happened. It was
none of that happened. He just pointed at him. And so he's like, look, this isn't what happened to him. In his mind is, well, it's not as bad as everyone's saying.
Yeah, but it is. That's the point. Is that he did he could have been shot, and that would have been the end of it.
Yeah.
This kind of goes back to the same thing that you often hear about law enforcement and military, where there's a stigma against getting therapy if you feel you need it. It's like, no, you be a man, toughen up. You don't need that, and it leads to a lot of mental health issues, especially in the military. I think. Where they don't get the help they need, and there's this stigma of actually talking to someone about it, and that's kind of, and it's not the exact same here, but it's kind of along the same lines where Reggie feels he doesn't want to talk to someone, he doesn't want to deal with it, and ultimately, Gabe throughout the episode's been wanting to just talk to him about stuff. It feels like he's trying to make amends. He feels bad about what happened, and he wants to try and build a bridge, and it seems that it's actually Reggie's idea to bring the camera Because, in fact, one of my favourite little filmmaking techniques in this one is when he's waiting for Gabe towards the end of the episode, he's just, like, Reggie's just standing against the pillar in AP House, and various characters, there's some girls that he's maybe spoken to before are walking around him. We see, like, I think Lionel at one point walks around him, but he just stays there, and the camera keeps moving around, following other people who are walking past him and around him, and it really feels like the entire world's revolving, but he's still staying still. Like, everyone else has got their own thing going, but he's got his own problems, and I thought the filmmaking and the way it handled the movement of everyone else while he was standing still really brought that across.
Nice, definitely.
Yeah, that was a nice touch, just some direction. So Gabe sits down with him and turns on the camera, and this is his therapy. This is him getting out. He wants to get it off his chest. He brings up this awkward feeling that he has when he's on the street and he sees like a white woman, and he can look at her and tell that she's trying to decide if she wants to cross the street. She feels scared because she's intimidated, but she doesn't want to look like she's racist, and he can see that internal debate almost, and then he feels that he's being threatened because of that debate, so he makes the choice to cross the street first.
Yeah.
And that's like, because Gabe says, oh, let's not talk about the big things first. I mean, obviously we have brutality, we have all these things, but what's the little things that maybe people wouldn't think about? What's the smaller things that add up and really hit? And, you know, he tells this story, and it's like, okay, right, this all makes sense. Like, you know, he's talking about this, and he's basically just saying, yeah, like, my takeaway from all this is, like, I want to express how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the episode.
That's it, because, you know, I think we'll see some more of this documentary over the season. If not directly see it, we'll just see people discussing it, and we'll get what he said through context. Yeah,
absolutely. I think I'm getting the impression he's probably sitting there for a long time talking. Although he does end the episode on this little, he just sort of grins. He sort of grins, stops grinning, then grins again. He almost looks kind of sinister the way he sort of grins, because it's almost like he feels empowered because, you know what, I'm not going to hide anymore. I'm going to talk about this stuff. And it feels... because sometimes when Sam's talking about being woke and always talking about things, it feels like for him this is actually like a real natural awakening, where he's like, no, I'm not going to shut up about this anymore. I really want to like express this.
And on that note, I feel like the documentary could be this season's, you know, the radio show almost. In the sense, you know, how we kept going back to the radio show, we'd hear new opinions on things that she has, you know, new rants, etc.
In fact, given how it condenses time, I wonder if like Sam will even get back in the radio booth and actually start talking again until the finale.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe. Yeah. It depends if we have another event that shakes things up.
I think there will be, because season 1, like all the episodes kind of took place over the same time until that 5th episode, and then everything moved past that.
Yeah.
So it was like we had two chunks of time that we used.
It was. I think it's particularly interesting how so far everything here is just dealing with the fallout of that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that this is super serialized to the point where it just picks up and keeps going with all the same plot threads and themes that we're talking about. I did laugh actually at the white roommate who... So this is going to be a dry room, because he's got a poster on his wall of the guy who died last season.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I don't know.
It was, yeah.
No, not dying in that way is in any way funny, but for some reason it's one of these things.
It was kind of comedically absurd, right?
Yes, yeah, it was absurd. That's a good way of putting it. Lionel's out on a date with his boss, so I'm sure we'll get that in his episode. And of course, Jo, clearly we knew she had feelings for Reggie, but she goes up at the club and she sings a song, but as she's singing, it feels like she's almost singing directly to him, even if she's doing it for everyone, but she's singing, like, she's looking at him a lot.
It's the way the camera keeps cutting back to him, doesn't it?
And then, you know, this girl sits next to him and he starts flirting with him, and he just kind of like plays nice more than anything else. He doesn't really necessarily do anything except, but it's kind of distracting him. He's not paying as much attention, and
that's it. It's, you know, we don't even know what he's saying. She's gone by the time that the song's finished. Yeah. It's more just that he's talking to her instead of watching and listening. Yeah. And obviously it's one of these things where I think, arguably he's just being polite and there's nothing he can really do here. There's nothing that he's necessarily done wrong. It's certainly not intentionally. But at the same time, you actually, again, Joe's like perspective here, like this is the sort of thing that if you're like feeling... Like, if you've got, like, really acute feelings for someone, this is the sort of little thing that'll make you feel down for the rest of the day. Even though they didn't do anything wrong, it's not their fault. But it's just like the chips have aligned where, like, I feel like crap now because I feel like he was giving someone else more attention. Like, you know? Yeah.
I feel like everyone's kind of been there. You kind of have those moments. So, but hey, so again, I think Joe's plot will kind of stem out from that most likely, and we'll see where that goes.
Probably.
So no. Really, again, really
Only
solid.
like one moment of Sam really in this episode, I think.
Yeah, there's that really awkward like three-way moment where Gabe's there, Sam's there, and Reggie's there, and it's almost like all three of them, like every single possible pair amongst the three, all have this weird tension. So it's just this trio of tension.
It is, and that's it for her this episode.
Yeah, Sam and Reggie not in a great place. Sam and Gabe not in a great place. Gabe and Reggie
No,
not in a great place at that point. Although they seem to be building the bridge, so maybe they are.
I think arguably the funniest scene for me though is the Bible group.
Oh yeah. He stays with Jo because she's in a Bible group, and she turns around and says, "Hey, if you want to leave before he starts using adjectives for Jesus, it's probably time to go now."
Yeah, and then then he gets into it and he just starts listing adjectives, and that's when he walks off.
Yeah, he starts talking. He's like he's describing a cake. He's like, "Oh, it's sweet, but he's savoury, and he's this, but he's that, and he's
really
this,
is,
but he's that."
He picked a good time to walk out. No, a good time to walk out would have been, when everyone else left the room.
Yeah, I feel like he just wanted to sit there and be sarcastic for a bit, though.
Yeah.
I really got that vibe from him, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay.
It seems therapeutic.
Yeah. So no. Solid episode. Actually, I think we should probably mention the just the one scene with the other dude, the white dude at the party,
Yes.
where he's been friendly with them, and he kind of like openly sort of basically says, "Oh, I kind of get racism now that by supporting the system, I'm in a small way being racist." And then there's this pause, and they start laughing, and he's like, "What's so funny? I mean, do you want a cookie?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, I'd love a cookie, but why are you laughing?" Right? And like, well, it's like you're waiting for like an award for realizing this. Like, it's like you because you didn't pass like this grade until you're 25, you want an award now for it. No. Okay, it's good that you've done this, but we're not going to like cherish you and cheer you because you came to this realization. And okay, I like that scene.
That was funny.
There's a perspective, nice bit of satire there, but there was also some funny elements to it and stuff. So it's all good. So no, dear white people, as per usual, a really solid, dense 30 minutes of characterization amongst nothing else.
Absolutely.
So, we will see you next time for episode 3. It'll definitely be before the end of the week. I can promise you that. We will do that hook or crook. Depending if we drop another show, actually, which we may or may not do, they could speed up a little bit, depending. But at the very least, you'll get episode 3 sometime later this week. So let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us in the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. It's worth heading over there anyway. The top post has links to all of our audio feeds, all of the different shows we have on YouTube, all that stuff. But thanks very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, and we'll see you next time.